Welcome, everyone, to the Campus Waterfowl podcast. I'm your host, Derek Christians, and we are back again for our Collegiate Waterfowl Tour, Season 6, and we made the adventure over to Snow College in central Utah. Here we are. It's funny how this is kind of like a non-typical way that I met Jackson here. That's to the right of me. And for anyone listening to this podcast, we do record these podcasts on video as well, so you can check them out on YouTube. And Spotify also has a video option as well. And vice versa, if you're watching on YouTube, you can take it on the road. Jackson here to the right of me, him and I actually met at the National FFA Convention, and we just started chatting a little bit about kind of what I do, about Ducks Unlimited. And he mentioned about like him being from Utah, Snow College and everything. I was like, well, never been to Utah. We haven't been to Utah yet for the Collegiate Waterfowl Tour. So that was a couple months ago?
Yeah, that was in October, I believe.
October. So fast forward 2 months here. What is it, second week of December? Yep. Or something like that. And now here we are in Utah, going out. It was a wild day today. It's Saturday evening right now, and we were all over the county. So
sure
we're going to discuss that a little bit today in our episode, and also what it's like hunting Utah. I think a lot of people think of the Great Salt Lake right away, but we're going to talk a little bit kind of what it's like hunting around here, and even just I would say Utah in general, what it has to offer for waterfowl hunters. And then what's your guys' story? How do you guys know one another? How you met? And then what's your guys' story in the duck hunting and how you got into duck hunting? So, but first, before we get into all of that, we got to thank some sponsors. We got Ken Cartridge. This year we're shooting their Fasteel Plus loads, their stack loads. We got 2 4s, and you guys got a chance to shoot those today. What are you guys' thoughts?
I love those shells. They put an impact on the birds, and I just loved them.
You could tell the difference on them?
Yeah.
Cool.
Pretty smooth.
Yeah, they shoot fast too.
Yeah.
Nice and fast.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we were discussing this morning in the blind. They were shooting 1450 velocities. So another sponsor we have is Spandau Firearms, and they are a new company here in the U.S. this year. We are shooting their 12 gauge. It's an inertia-driven shotgun, 3-inch chamber. The Spandau S2. You also got it. Matt, did you get a chance to shoot it this evening?
I did not. But Jackson
got a chance to shoot it today. What are your thoughts on the S2?
It's a smooth shooting gun. It's really light. I loved carrying that gun. It was so fun to shoot, and I felt like I could shoot that faster and more efficiently than I could with my 870 or my over and under.
Cool. Yeah, no, it's good. It's been fun having bringing some of these things on some of these trips for these students to try. So if you guys ever get a chance to try some of these things or anything like that, these companies support what we do and the collegiate audience, so we greatly appreciate their support and letting us do that. So in any way, if you guys want to help them out, I'm sure they'd appreciate it as well. So, but all right. Well, Jackson, you want to start us out with maybe kind of like I always call it the freshman intro, kind of name, where you're from, what you're going to school for, and anything else you want to share. Start us off.
Yeah, so my name is Jackson Anderson. I'm from here right in central Utah. If you wanted to find my house, literally put your finger right in the middle of the map of Utah and you'll hit my house. I'm currently attending Snow College as a freshman studying wildlife biology. I either want to be a wildlife biologist or I want to go into the Utah Division of Wildlife Game Warden. So,
you go ahead, Mac.
My name is McLean Hodson. I'm just born and raised in Manti. Just kind of working my life away right now.
Nice.
School's in the future, probably next fall, most likely. And I'm thinking going into sales, learning how to run a business and the ins and outs and stuff like that, and we'll see where that goes for me.
Sweet. Yeah, I'm Kyan Mickelson. I'm currently a senior at Manti High School, taking a lot of college credits from Snow College, hanging out with these guys a little bit. As far as careers, leaning toward business, but still figuring out. So,
Sweet. And then how did kind of like right away that I mentioned, like how in the world did you guys meet one another? Did you guys just grow up together? Or?
Pretty much. High school played a big part. Me and him worked together our senior year at a welding company.
Okay.
And a lot of yelling was done between the two of us, but I mean, we're pretty tight. So,
Yeah, and for me and Kyan, him and I shot on a competitive shotgun shooting team for the past 4 years. So him and I have really got to know each other through that. His dad is a game warden in the state of Utah. So I've really got to know him and his family through dealing with the Division of Wildlife and meeting him on the shotgun shooting team.
I don't know if that's always a good thing.
Yeah, every time he breaks
the
the law, Jackson.
Well, your dad's just a good guy, and he's really well known in the community, and he likes to show up to a lot of community events. So,
Yeah, for sure.
What about so you mentioned the kind of the shooting sports side of things. Are you guys all involved in that?
I did it for fun. I didn't do it competitively, but
I just know that, like, I hear it a lot about it, just across the country too. Just a lot of people getting involved with that. And
it's big. That's for sure. It's big.
what are you guys' thoughts on kind of that growing sport and kind of what that has to offer for the youth?
I love that sport. I don't know if you noticed today in the video, some of you might see it, but my brother's jacket had the trigger therapy jacket on. That's the team we shoot for. It teaches youth about the education in shooting sports, and it really teaches them about gun safety. And it's such a community that I just love going to shoots because everybody I know, everybody I'm friends with, I hang out with all these kids, even outside of shoots now. I spend a lot of time, like Kai and I have gone hunting together. We spend a lot of time together, and it's not like any other sport. You don't sit on the sideline.
Yeah.
You get to shoot, and you shoot for yourself and you shoot for the team. So your whole goal is pretty much to beat yourself and just learn how to become a better shot and be a better sportsman.
Well, I don't even think just that. Like, I think it's just important. I think even if you're not a hunter or like to shoot, I think it's gun safety is a very important thing that everybody should know, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. Kind of like what Jackson was saying, like, it's just a huge family. The shooting sport community is so awesome. Here in the state of Utah, the UTY ESS League is just awesome. Big family, and we compete. We're really competitive, but afterwards, we shake hands and we're friends. So it's really awesome.
Yeah, for sure. That's important.
Is there? It seems like there's a lot of opportunity there, even for travel. Like, you could probably get as big, like, go as far as you want to kind of compete, I'd imagine.
Yeah. I mean, there's an Olympic team for it, so
Yeah.
I mean, you can go ways with it if you're.
I got an opportunity a couple of years ago to go to, I think it's Sparta, Illinois, where they have this just massive national shoot, and like, it is just insanely huge.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to comprehend, like, how big a facility that is dedicated for like shooting sports and everything. And people all across the country go there and partake in that. So yeah, no, it's fun to see that sport growing and the participation that it's getting. So
Yeah,
sure.
I definitely agree with the travel thing. Me and Kyan have got the opportunity several times now to travel down to the Clark County shooting range in Las Vegas, Nevada, and we get to shoot the Ducks Unlimited course actually for our practice round.
Sweet.
And so it's way cool. It's just a big community. You meet people from 23 different states, and it's so cool because you just travel around and you're hanging out at each other's camps. You're playing cornhole, and it's just a big community. And I just love going to these shoots.
And what's, I guess if anyone's out there maybe listening, like, what's a good way to find someone that's maybe interested or like to get into shooting sports and stuff? Like, what's a good way to maybe get involved?
I would recommend talking to some kids that or talking to people that are in the shooting sports community or that hunt a little bit, and they can give you recommendations on people to get a hold of and get contacted with to get in the shooting sports organization. And a lot of these people are willing to help you. I mean, my coach, he trades his old guns off to get new guns to sell them to our kids for dirt cheap, and so people are willing to help you for sure get into it.
It's a very friendly environment, the hunting and shooting community. It's everybody's just there for the same reasons. It's either fun or to feed the family. So it's a pretty friendly environment.
That's cool. So that kind of gets us to our next topic. Let's talk about the hunting. What are your guys' stories on how you guys got involved in hunting?
You want to start, Kyan?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start. Yeah, so my dad, as Jackson said earlier, he's a game warden, or used to be game warden. Now he's a lieutenant up in Salt Lake. But so I was just kind of growing up around wildlife. Started out more, just doing wildlife projects with my dad. And when I got time for me to be old enough to take hunter's ed, started doing that and just fell in love with hunting immediately. I like to do all sorts of hunting, but waterfowl is definitely my biggest passion, and especially in Utah where we have a lot of unique opportunities for it. So
yeah, for sure. For me, it's just kind of, I don't know, I'm big into big game, I guess. I've just kind of started getting into duck hunting. He's kind of got me into it, but big game's a big thing in my family, really. We kind of have a camp every year for mule deer, rifle, and muzzleloader and stuff like that. My grandpa's really big into it. He's hunted his whole life. My dad, I guess I kind of just grew up around it. Yeah.
For me, my story's a little bit different. So I didn't grow up with the typical go out and pheasant hunt or go out and deer hunt. We actually used to run hounds and chase predators. We used to tree lions and tree bobcats, and that was kind of how I got my hunting start. And I'd go out with my dad, and we let the dogs go on a track, and you tree the lion, you get up there, you catch the dogs, take a picture, and it used to be so cool. And then I remember a story where me and my grandpa and my dad shot this deer, and we had a trail it for a long time, and that was just kind of my start into hunting, and I loved it ever since then. And every time my dad went out, I had to go out with him, and every time my grandpa went out, I had to go out with him, and I just loved the hunting community, and it's grown on me through my family.
So for that, I guess let's talk about the waterfowl hunting specifically, and kind of talking about like kind of what's popular out here in terms of the hunting in general, because I think everyone listening probably like, the West is kind of known for big game stuff, all of that, but kind of with what maybe Utah, just in Utah, like what it has to offer, like where does kind of waterfowl hunting kind of tee up against in popularity amongst like all the other types of hunting?
I feel like waterfowl is actually growing down here. I feel like it's a growing thing. Maybe that's just my opinion on it, but I feel like it is a growing sport. Slowly, but it is growing. Because Ducks Unlimited, they did some work out at our meadows in Manti. It's just like there's stuff that's happening that's making it easier to do, I guess, in a sense.
The accessibility to
exactly.
get on land and things like that.
So I feel like plays a big role. People are, oh, hey, I'm going duck hunting. It's easier to get into it. Like duck stamps, not that hard to get.
Yeah,
combinations, not that hard to get. So it's, oh, hey, I'm going duck hunting. Oh, I'm going to take the opportunity. Any hunting is fun, like really.
Yeah, especially in like something that's growing, especially like with duck hunting. Like the best way to learn how to duck hunt is by being taken out by someone that knows how to duck hunt.
Yeah.
And then kind of just a snowball effect.
Yeah. And then you get into it, and then you're next thing you know, you're going by yourself, and it's just it's a good time. Obviously it's funner with friends. It's funner with people that you hang out with and know, but it's always a good time to go.
Yeah, for sure. I just kind of want to go into this a little bit, but when you go out on the opening day of the rifle deer hunt, there isn't a ridge on the mountain, or you can't be within 300 yards of someone else, because there's just that many people on the mountain. And when I first started duck hunting, I never ran into anybody. We'd always get out to our spot. We'd never have to deal with it. And now, like, look at even today, how early did we get up just so we could get into our spot and beat everybody out there? And it's just, I've noticed it growing just through the amount of people that are coming out and getting involved in duck hunting, and the amount of shots we heard today. And
yeah, it's true. Yeah, you heard them through the valley and things.
It echoes. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'd say that duck hunting is easy to get addicted to. You can be a big game hunter, and you go out and try waterfowl hunting with a buddy that does it, and it's easy to get hooked. And then you spend a lot of time doing it.
That's my case. I was big. Jackson's like, hey, let's go duck hunting. I'm like, why would I go duck? It's just cold. Like, that's not fun. But it's a lot of fun. My favorite part would probably be watching dogs work. That's my favorite thing. I like pheasant hunting, watching dogs work. I think it's the coolest thing, because like that's literally what they're bred to do. Right. And it's cool to watch.
Do you think it's kind of, because with big game, like once you're tagged, and I don't know, depending on how long it takes you to tag out, but if you tag out, like that whole process maybe is a lot shorter compared to like a full duck season where you can kind of go every day or up to possession limit and things.
And if you like to shoot,
for sure.
If you're a good deer hunter, you're shooting one time. But with ducks, you can shoot a lot.
Even with like deer, elk, and stuff like that, there's a lot of preparation that goes into it. Like me and my brother, like we'll go to work all day, and my brother will call me on his way home. Hey, you know what? I'm going up the mountain tonight. You down? I'm like, duh. Like I'm going to take the opportunity to go up the mountain. It's just, there's a lot of preparation with duck hunting. Not necessarily there is, but you got to set up a blind. There's still preparation, but still going to lean more towards your big game hunting, but I still love duck hunting.
How has the, for you, Mac, the kind of learning waterfowl hunting? How has that process been with kind of learning the identification, even some of the regs, and just kind of that process? How has that been going?
Slow. I mean, it's tricky. I mean, there's a lot of different kinds of ducks, not necessarily around here, but I mean, there's a lot of like what's rare and what's not. That's kind of hard to tell, but I mean, your common duck, obviously, and mallard. I mean, I think it's the prettiest bird, honestly, in my opinion. Just the colors, but it is definitely tricky. There's a lot of different kinds of ducks. Good thing I got Jackson here to, hey, that's what that kind of bird is.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, perfect. That's a cool bird. But
I took Mac out for his first time last year, and we got him out there, and we had some ducks come off a pond, and we all started shooting and shooting and shooting. All of a sudden, we watched one go off in the distance, and I leaned over to Mac, and we don't know to this day who hit it, but I leaned over to Mac, and I was like, "Oh, you got it!" You know, just trying to get him into it.
On his first bird?
Yeah,
on the very first bird.
I don't think it was my bird, if I'm being honest.
It was definitely his bird. But we got over there, and we got him all hyped up, and it was a great big Susie, bigger than the one we killed.
Oh, wow.
She was big. And it was just so cool. And even from then till now, I've just got to watch Matt grow and learn more. And yeah, he can actually pick a duck out of the sky and tell you what it is. And it's just really cool it's really fun to watch him pick it up and learn it a little bit better.
I feel like my favorite part about it is like now that I'm like, we're getting older, obviously we're not young anymore, but like I get to experience something else and like show my family, like, because they're never been big into duck hunting, pheasant hunting. I mean, we love to pheasant hunt, but I get to show like my kids like what I learned, like that's my favorite part about hunting. Like I get to take my kids out and do that now.
Yeah.
And now that I have a wider range of hunting that I know, it's just gonna be cooler to teach my kids that.
Right.
I guess.
Yeah.
Get them excited for it.
Kind of, what about you with, like, you kind of mentioned how you grew up hunting. Like today, like what are things that you're learning, even for as long as you've been maybe duck hunting, that you're kind of still learning and maybe want to get better at?
Yeah, for sure. The thing about hunting waterfowl in Utah is like Utah is really physically diverse, like you have red rocks and mountains and marshes, and it's the same thing with waterfowl hunting. Like it's really diverse. And here in central Utah, there's always like different spots and ways to set up, versus northern. So I think the biggest thing is just like the learning curve of spreads and how to set up and, patterning the birds, just learning things like that,
Yeah, that's definitely a tricky thing for sure. Like today, I mean, we sat a decoy out and I was like, I don't know why that matters. And then you guys kind of explained it like I'm still learning. Like
that was like when we chucked that one decoy out, that was like a full storyline. Like we were thinking of what the birds would think of why we would put that one decoy out.
Yeah, I was so confused. I was like, that makes sense.
We're driving up to the spot, and Derek over here is like, we're going to take 3 decoys out there. No, we're going to take 2. Nope, we're going to take 1. And I'm sitting there thinking, why are we going to take 1 decoy out there?
This was a conclusion that I came up with just like from watching the birds all weekend, or like just seeing how like it seemed like every time we saw them out, it was a drake, it was a pair, it was a drake and a hen together. And then when we came up on those ones, that first time you said there were 6 down in the bottom that you scared up. And so like my whole thought process was with that, like start with 3, but then it's like, because sometimes I didn't know if these ducks were starting to get, because you only maybe saw 2 or 3 together at max. Like that 6 was kind of unique where we didn't really see like them in big groups. And so I was like, maybe we just throw one Susie down there. Maybe there's like some lone drake that's out there and he sees her from high up. Or if there's like a pair together, a pair comes down, maybe you're flying over, maybe they're going to try to push that one off, or maybe they just don't mind and kind of land in a different section. So like I didn't want to overcrowd that hole with ducks. Just put one in there, and that's kind of my thought process was. Yeah. I don't know if it makes sense or not. But.
Yeah. Hey, it's all good. So I have a question though. So like compared to like other duck hunts that you went on with college students, what would you compare this one to? Like in my opinion, it was more of a redneck. You're kind of lower hunt, but like,
we were just kind of all over the place.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like
today.
It's hard to spread on that.
Just with the conditions that we were given, I would say it's kind of unique where, and even like coming into Utah and seeing where Snow College was at, like you're kind of at a disadvantage where just like if people were to look this up, like we're like in the center of Utah, we're to the south of the Great Salt Lake. And so like a lot of birds I can imagine probably get hung up in that that area up there just for
sure.
the habitat that it offers, all the different like everything. And so it's like that alone is puts this area at a disadvantage. And so knowing that there might be limited birds, and maybe depending on how the flyways kind of are, Jackson was kind of mentioning that kind of you're kind of right in the middle between the central and the Pacific flyways, and so you're kind of just your main source is the Salt Lake, and that's kind of the last main body source, like
Before
anywhere, anywhere south. And so that, and then you combine kind of the blue skies today and the temps. It's been what? Like things have kind of locked up, haven't they?
Today.
Yeah, it was a pretty day. That's for sure.
Not you want to talk about that a little bit, of just how like the weather has been, what the area's been looking like?
So lately, usually this time of year, we have about a foot of snow and all the lakes are starting to freeze. But lately, it's been getting really cold at nights, and then it gets really warm in the days. But it gets so cold at night, it's been freezing the water over. Well, usually this time of year when the weather's here, we have ducks coming in, and they sit on the water, and it keeps the water from freezing because they keep swimming around in these little holes. But where we don't have the ducks, everything has frozen over. So we have these few little holes where these few little ducks have been. And that was really the challenge today because we were hunting 40 degrees, but everything was frozen solid. And I was even driving down the one road and we hit a patch of ice and it was about 4 inches thick. And it's just difficult because the weather's been really off this year, and
so it's so back and forth. Like we had snow, now we don't have snow, and then we get snow, and then it's just back and forth. I mean, obviously the ground just retains it really fast, but
yeah. We hunted that spot this morning, and I think running water was kind of the thing where the mallards were wanting, and so we ended up finding some running water, found some streams, and was it Kyan? Did you put us there? Okay. On some streams to walk up, and so ended up getting that one Susie, and then we ended up. It was hilarious. I made the joke when we were this evening about how like normally you're glassing for big game and stuff, but here we're glassing for birds. we're glassing for mallards.
You get on a hill and you're like, oh, okay, there's some, and then you put a stalk on them. Usually that's like, hey, let's go stalk that deer, not ducks.
Yeah, we're going for greenhead, big fat greenheads.
Yep, for sure.
So when it comes to like bird diversity, like what's your guys' typical like hunt look like for waterfowl? Like what kind of birds are you guys usually seeing around in this area?
Well, it depends on the day, because like sometimes Jackson will call me up, hey, just got off work, you want to go shoot some ducks? So we'll walk out and we'll glass, and then usually it's just coots or some lucky mallards, but it's usually mallards that we're trying to get.
Yeah, we're usually trying to get mallards, but as you've seen today, and even in the video it might show it too, but we have this open pocket of water, and there's probably 200 coot out there, and it's got a bunch of mixed ducks in there, and so there's a lot of divers out here and a lot of mallards, and we don't get a lot of wood ducks or teal, or we don't get a lot of that around here.
Yeah, early season it's like we get a lot of green-winged teal and mallards. And then as it gets later, it's a lot of divers.
Yeah,
a
lot of divers.
Kind of like back to what Jackson was saying, like right in the middle of the flyway where Utah is, you never know what you're gonna get.
Yeah,
like we've been up north hunting and we've killed long-tailed ducks and Barrow's goldeneye, and we've seen a white-winged scoter there the other day. Utah's crazy, so you never know what you're gonna get. But like for us, it's mostly mallards, green-winged teal, and divers. So
that's a good. And Canada, like for geese wise, like are you guys seeing Canada's mostly? Are you guys getting snows through here?
Mainly Canada's.
Yeah, mainly Canada's. You may see some snows flying.
I do know of a few snows that got killed 15 minutes of where we were sitting today, but I'm yet to see a snow here. So
pintails? Do you ever see pintails?
Yeah, we see pintails. I mean, not too often. They'll normally like come in big groups, but
I mean, right where I work, down at our yard, to the field just west of us, we had probably 150 geese in there every morning, and then obviously noon, and then they're gone. But if I had a shotgun sitting in a man lift, I could have got a limit. Too bad.
Over your guys' years of hunting, what are some of the kind of things that you've noticed been the best kind of things that I guess you've taken account into your hunting techniques that I guess paid dividends and have had the most success?
Something I've kind of put into my hunting technique that not a lot of people are going to agree with, but a lot of people think that you have to have your spread set out a certain way or in a certain pattern, but if you really get looking at ducks when they're swimming around and with each other, they're not sitting in a perfect U. They're not sitting in a J. They're swimming around. They're all over each other. So something I do is when I throw my decoys out, I don't have any particular way. I just try and maybe a few here close together, a few spread out, and that's really worked for me quite a bit lately. The ducks tend to like that a little bit better. And something I've noticed here too is in the early season, yes, calling is going to work, but a lot of these ducks hang around here. So they've all seen all the spreads. They've all seen or heard all the calls. So they don't like to use their calls and they don't like to come into calls. So I tend to not like to call. I like to give a little bit of call when I first start, but I tend to not call towards later in the afternoon or later in the morning.
So maybe that just fluctuates, like how you set out your spread, where you're at and where you're going, obviously, but definitely around here it just doesn't really matter, I guess. I don't know. Maybe you've hunted a lot more places than I have.
I really like sloughs. I think if you can find a good slough around here, sloughs are rewarding for sure. The spread doesn't really matter as long as you got, I'd say between a dozen and 16 on a slough out here. But yeah, you just kind of got to find the birds. They switch out a lot. They'll be really good one week, and then Monday through Friday, you'll go set up on Saturday, and they'll be gone. So you just gotta hit them right.
And something I kind of noticed is before you came out here, Derek, me and Mac have been jump shooting mallards and all sorts of stuff on that lake we were at today. And then today there was divers. Divers. And it was just kind of weird because last weekend we were shooting mallards.
Yeah, what day was it that we went out? And
is a week ago from today.
Yeah, a week ago from today. I took my dog out. I've been working with him, but took my dog out in mallards everywhere. And then went there to nothing.
Has the temperature anything fluctuated since then, or
yeah, temperatures have definitely rise.
It was gotten warmer.
Yeah, I feel like it was colder. I feel like it's starting to get a little bit warmer, which is weird, but
we're looking at weather coming in next week. I was just looking at my weather app today, and I'm praying because we need to get these ducks moving again.
Yeah. What about snowfall in this area? Does that play a big impact on what you see for birds and kind of how success is?
Kyan might know a little bit better on that, but it tends to, when it does get a little bit colder, success rate for me tends to go up a little bit because they're all huddle into the little holes, and there's more birds traveling down here where it's warm. They're all staying up at the Great Salt Lake right now, and when it starts to cool off, they're all coming down here, and then they all huddle into these little holes, and success rates for me tend to go up.
Yeah, I would agree. I think when it gets colder and you get snow, it's easier to kill more green, more green heads. I think later in the year when it freezes up and gets snowy, if you can find rivers where they're roosting and do evening hunts, it can get pretty rewarding once the snow hits.
So do you guys strictly stick to water most of the time here? Or is there any field hunting or anything like that you guys do? Or
that's mainly geese, in my opinion. You see a lot of people field hunting for geese and stuff like that, but I don't know about ducks.
There's not a lot of field hunting for ducks around here. I've never hunted a field personally. Every goose I've shot has been on water, and that's worked the best for me. I have got permission for fields to hunt. I just never have.
And
there is a lot. Obviously they're sitting fields all the time. Yeah. That's where they feed.
So another thing I want to talk about is the duck DNA project that I was able to bring on this weekend's trip. For the listeners and viewers, you might see this on social media sometimes posted by Ducks Unlimited, but they're working in collaboration with the University of Texas, El Paso, on conducting research from the help of hunters, where anyone is able to apply to be a part of the Duck DNA project, and then a committee selects the people who are, selected, and they send out these little test kits, and we were able to get one of those for this year, and I was able to bring it on this trip. We have to collect mallards and collect the tips of their tongue to collect their DNA, and then we ship that out to Texas. They do their testing and all that stuff, but Jackson here was able to kind of go through that whole process this evening after we were able to collect 3 mallards, and I just want to even get your guys' all your thoughts on how important it is to kind of have opportunities like this where folks are able to kind of partake in kind of the science side of things and what that means to you guys.
Well, I think it's important because it shows the people that somebody out there really cares. I mean, you mentioned that we're going to get a certificate back that's going to tell us the exact DNA makeup of those ducks, and I'm really excited to see what it is, because it's going to help educate the people about the ducks and the wildlife that they're hunting. And I think this program is amazing. It was really simple, easy. You ran through it with me right first, and I was like, crap, I'm not going to know what to do when I get on camera. But sure enough, it was really easy. You just plug everything in, plug all the information in. Cutting out the tongue was really easy. Putting it in the little capsule was really easy. And I think it's so cool because not a lot of people get to see the science side of things, and I'm really pumped to get that result back.
Yeah, I feel like it's important to know like what you're hunting, know more about what you're hunting, and I feel like this is going to help like get that much further on knowing what you're hunting. So I feel like it's important.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's awesome. You know, I've been able to participate in some duck banding, so I've got a little bit of background with some of that research stuff. But I think it's awesome, because hunters are the biggest conservationists, and I think that like anything we can do to further understand what we're hunting, but also what we're conserving and protecting, the more we'll be able to accomplish that. So yeah, I think it's awesome. I've got a question for you, Derek.
Oh gosh, what?
So you flew into Salt Lake, right?
Yeah.
And you had to drive, 2.5 hours, 2:45
I think it's about
to Manti. What were your kind of impressions driving down and just, seeing Utah for the first time, right? That was your first time
Yeah, first time, like actually on the ground.
Of like hometown, like what you're used to like what we're used to. That is a good question. I'm curious.
It reminded me of so I've hunted West River, South Dakota, like kind of that rolling hill sagebrush and things like that. So it reminded me a lot like that. I just can't ever get over like just the mountains in the background. I just love seeing that. Like usually when I look out a window of my car, like I usually see the horizon, the edge or where the sky meets the horizon, like usually at eye level with where I'm sitting. But when I look out to my left, I have to look up at a 45-degree angle where I see the horizon. So it's just cool to be out here. Some of the, let me think, the amount of sage, like just is this pretty much what the whole state looks like, kind of?
No, it's actually crazy.
Okay.
Like, we got mountains, and you go further south and it's red rock, and you go out west and it's a desert. Utah's just crazy.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Weird. Like you look on your east end of town, it's mountains, huge mountains, and then you look west and it's sage. I mean, that's it. And then, then you get past basically beaver, and then it's just flat, pretty much the rest of the way until you hit like Arizona, Nevada, and stuff like that.
Yeah, it probably has a lot of opportunities when it comes to the wildlife, especially on the hunting side.
Yeah.
So you guys kind of mentioned this, like where does waterfowl rank for you, and kind of what you guys enjoy most doing outdoors?
For me personally, I would rank archery hunting, any big game, over any hunt there is. But definitely my second would be waterfowl. I just love the archery aspect because it teaches you that you have to be within so many yards of the animal, and you have to respect the animal, and that animal has to respect you. And it teaches you a lot about patience. But then when you get into waterfowl, you get to meet good guys like Kyan and Mac, and you get to go have a good time. You're shooting shots all day long, and it's a total blast. So waterfowl for me would be probably second.
For me, like just kind of getting into it, I'm probably a little bit different. If I'm being honest, I love big game hunting. I like rifle hunting, muzzleloader hunting. I haven't archery hunted a little bit. I actually got an opportunity to go with this guy on my first technically archery hunt, like cow hunt for him. That was a lot of fun. It's a humbling thing for big game. It is like, I mean, you got to get within 60 yards depending on what you're shooting. Elk closer, obviously 60 yards, but deer 100 yards isn't bad. But it was definitely something cool to experience. But waterfowl, probably third if I'm being honest. I like pheasant hunting. I love pheasant hunting.
Yeah, there's a good like for upland stuff. Like what kind of stuff do you guys have out here?
I would say Utah is probably one of the most diverse states for upland game because you have sage grouse, you have pine hens, you have chuckers,
pheasants,
quail,
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 all kinds of stuff.
Mourning doves. So
Dude, mourning dove is good. I mean, big thing for my family too. Like we all come down, we go shoot some doves, and then go back, cook them up. I mean, it's just that's big for me too. But I would have to probably rank it third.
Yeah, just like these guys, I love big game hunting, but waterfowl is for sure my number one. You know, my biggest goal is to get all 43 North American waterfowl species. You know, I just got back from that trip in Alaska and checked a bunch of sea ducks off the list, so we're getting there. But I love everything about waterfowl hunting. You know, I'd take a day in the marsh or a day in the tamarack, you know, over a day in the mountains. But I love big game hunting, but waterfowl is probably the number one for me.
So, Kyan, can I ask you a question? Where are you on that list? How many
You
do you
know,
have?
I honestly can't answer that right now because I don't know off the top of my head after this trip, but I'm in the 20s somewhere.
Sweet.
Getting close.
Yep. I got that speckle belly, you know, came out of nowhere the other day, so that was a good one too. So we're getting there.
Your recent one was the newest one was a spec?
No, that was right before I left on my trip.
Okay.
I guess the most recent one would be a white
So
scoter.
the Alaska trip was,
Yeah.
what was some of the things you checked off from up there?
Yeah, so that's kind of what we did for like my senior trip.
There you go.
We went up to Eagle Lodge up in Prince of Wales. It's SFW's lodge up there. They do an awesome job. You know, it's really cool place. They do blacktail hunting and sea duck hunting. And we went out. I got my longtail duck, harlequin, surf scoter, Barrow's goldeneye, white-winged scoter, and then you know just puddle ducks too. So, but yeah, good trip. Tons of fun. So, and you know, just like kind of what we've been talking about, you get to go and meet awesome people that have that same passion for waterfowl hunting, but they do it differently than you do here. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like going up there, like you may think you know something about waterfowl hunting, it's just completely different up there. You know, you go into like a newbie pretty much, and you got to learn how to shoot those birds versus shooting, you know,
Like
green
how
heads that
people
are
do
cupped up in your
differently.
face. You know.
Yeah.
So I love that part. I think it's awesome just to you know try new things and diversify yourself. But it's a super fun trip.
Would you recommend Alaska to anyone and everybody?
Oh yeah, I think like if you're a waterfowl hunter and you want to, you know, try something that's just peak waterfowl experience, Alaska, Southeast Alaska was awesome. You know, and I actually got a blacktail deer when I was there too, so it's just like a sportsman's paradise. You know, it's really fruitful up there for sure.
Were you involved, like planning it and everything? Was that hard at all? Or
Yeah, it wasn't bad. We got it we got this trip my dad and I did at an auction at an SFW banquet, I think it was, or maybe it was a conservation officer banquet. I can't remember which one. But my dad bought it, and you know, so that lodge up there, Eagle Lodge, was super awesome. You know, kind of had our ferry tickets planned out, and we just had to get our flight tickets, you know, and then just our gear there. So it wasn't bad at all. And getting all the ducks and deer and everything back was super easy. They give you a game box up at the lodge, wrap it all up for you, freeze it, and then you just check it like a normal check bag. So, yeah.
would you recommend? So I actually, one of my buddies from back home that I grew up with, he did a trip up there this last, I can't remember when, but this season, and his words were like, "You're not getting any younger," and so he wanted to do it like he's my age. He's 28, 29. And so he went up there, went moose hunting with him and his brother, and then I think a friend. But he didn't want to wait until, like, he wanted to do it now while he was young rather than waiting until he got older. Because, like, there's a financial aspect there too. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Of, like, would you, like, I don't know everyone's situation, but like depending on situations, like would you just kind of bite the bullet and get up there if you could sooner rather than later?
Yeah, I would say like, I mean, obviously you got to be financially smart. That's the biggest thing, you know, because that probably
That's with any, I think any hunting trip.
Like anything you gotta be smart. But I would also say like if you have the opportunity to do something, like, you know, take it, because you probably won't regret taking the opportunity, but you'll probably regret, you know, not taking it. So
Yeah.
if you can, I'd recommend doing it.
I'd probably agree with Kyan on that. Like, just, I mean, if you got the money, you got the financial stuff to do it, just do it. I mean, like, even if you're not big into it and you got the stuff to do it, just do it. Like, might as well.
For me personally, my parents used to go to Alaska almost every year to go on these fishing trips, and they actually got the opportunity to travel back there with my grandparents last year for the last time. I'm trying to convince them to go again and take me, but we'll see where that goes. But yeah, for sure, bite the bullet. Just do it, because you never know what experiences you're going to gain and the people you're going to meet. I have a friend who went up to Alaska this last summer and went on a cruise, just a cruise, and he wanted to be a marine biologist, and he got talking to one of the whale watching cruise liners, and the guy was actually the owner of the boat, and he says, well, I'll tell you what, you come up here and you spend a summer with me, I'll give you your captain's license. And he says, then you start going to school. And he says, next thing you know, you'll be a marine biologist. So that, just bite the bullet. You never know who you're going to meet and the experiences you're going to gain.
Mm-hmm. That's wild. That's awesome. Yeah, no, I think, and it's kind of like that yes man mentality. It's like just always say yes if you get the opportunity, because you just never know where it's going to take. If saying no, it's kind of just going to keep you kind of where you're at. But I think some of the most exciting and most exciting outcomes are the scariest from the front end looking in at the start. But that's why I always take an opportunity if you get it. So even if it is kind of scary or not sure what's on the other side of it.
Yeah, for sure. And I'd even add on to that, just say like take the opportunity to go local, you know? Like you don't need to go to Alaska. The awesome thing about waterfowl is we have all these flyways in America, you know, and it may be not as great in some spots, but there's pretty much waterfowl everywhere. So, you know, bite the bullet and go find a spot, you know, near you and go make some memories for sure.
Yeah, make some memories.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. If there was something, and you all said waterfowl is not your top, I guess, favorite type of hunting, but if there's one hunt that you guys kind of a dream hunt, regardless of if it's big game or waterfowl, like what's something that's kind of up there that you would want to do?
One of my dream hunts for sure, I want to get my grandpa and I want to take him back to Alaska and go hunt caribou. He went on a caribou trip with my dad. He killed 2 caribou, but I want to get him back there, and that's something that's been a goal of mine. I want to get him either that or I want to get him on a fishing trip in Alaska, but for sure caribou hunt back in Alaska with my grandpa and dad.
See, I'd probably moose in Alaska. I feel like that'd be so much fun. Like, just me and my brother have talked about it. It'd just be like, go back there, pretty country back there. Just do it. I mean, moose for me probably.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Alaska too, but I'm gonna say St. Paul, and I'm gonna go King Iders.
Oh, Ider route.
You know, that's way out there, but if I could take like my dad and my brother to St. Paul and go hunt some King Iders, that'd be pretty sweet. Probably top of my list.
Sweet.
Have you guys all been to Alaska?
Nope.
I haven't, but my grandpa has, and he says
it's kind
beautiful.
of fun. Like, it's kind of just so some of the students, I kind of ask students kind of during my travels about kind of maybe some dream hunts or things like that, and it's funny how some folks will say, like, in areas will try to go to areas in parts of the country that have fairly pretty good hunting and things, but then the guys that are in those areas of the good hunting, they want to go to
other places.
Where, at least, it's like out of the country and things, like places like they kind of know that they're in a hot spot in the U.S. and so they maybe want to go to Canada or something. For you guys, it's like people that want to go out that might not have the best big game hunting, they want to go out west and go hunt, regardless if it's Colorado, Utah, Wyoming, whatever. But then I don't know if it's normal where guys from these areas, they want to go to Alaska, which is kind of like the next thing. Is that kind of normal that you kind of hear?
And I think you're exactly right, because it was funny when we were up there in Alaska.
Yeah, where did the guys from Alaska go?
Yeah, two of the guys at the lodge were actually from, I can't remember the name, but somewhere in Alaska. And they were like, and we told them we're from Utah. They're like, oh, dude, we want to go to Utah. We're like, why would you want to go to Utah? Yeah. We're like, you live in Alaska. Yeah. And he's like, we want to go hunt elk and antelope and stuff. And, you know, because up there they have, you know, black-tailed deer. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's just kind of like
just new experiences.
Yeah, new experiences for sure.
Mm-hmm. That's just crazy.
It's crazy who you'll meet when you're hunting.
Yeah.
Mule deer hunting, like we were up there and we met people from California. Like, I'm like, what is there even to hunt in California? How'd you even get into it?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. We were hunting I had an archery big bull tag last year I didn't kill, but we were up on this glassing knob on one of the last few days of the hunt, and there was this guy, and he was from, I can't remember where, but he was from clear across the country, and I'm like, what are you doing here? And he goes, oh, I drew out a big bull elk tag, and I'm like, why would you come to Utah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just never know. I guess they just got an opportunity to draw
And
for
they
one, I
took
guess.
it.
Yeah,
They took it.
He applied and got one, and he's like, "Yep, making the trip." So told his wife, and there he was.
Worth it.
Alrighty, Derek, I got a question for you, and we're gonna go way
Come
off
on.
topic. This isn't gonna be even hunting related.
Oh no, what do you?
But tell us a little bit about your dirty soda experience.
No, okay, you gotta give the listeners the. Okay, what is a dirty soda first?
So in Utah, a lot of us are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So we don't drink alcohol and we don't drink coffee. So like our coffee shops are like soda shops. But
Yeah.
these sodas, we put like flavorings and like coffee creamer, and we just totally go whack with our sodas. So today I took Derek to a dirty soda shack.
It's a shack. Yeah,
It's a legit shack. Like it's
like an
there's not
ice.
much-
It's for the guys up north. It's like a size of a permanent ice shack.
Yeah.
Not like a massive ice castle or anything. Just a small permanent ice shack.
Yeah, like you'd have a garage, like a little tool shed or something. That's legit about the
A
same
little
size.
shoe shed or something.
Yeah.
So we pull up in line today, and Derek's like, people wait this long for this stuff?
there's a line. There's a 20-minute line just to get a soda.
And so Derek, tell us a little bit about your experience with that today.
Okay, first off, I couldn't believe the line going through this place.
Just for a
and
soda.
seeing the menu, the options. So you're seeing like here. I took a picture of the menu.
Where'd you go?
Beach.
Beach.
Oh, okay. You went to beach. Nice.
Little
And-
plug
and-
there. No, just-
And for like some people out there, for like Sonics, like everyone knows what a Sonic is. Like, imagine Sonic, the customizations that you have there, just for pop, like different flavors of pop, soda, Coke, or whatever you call it, with all sorts of different like flavorings and things. And so, like for example, they have a Paradise, which is Mountain Dew, mango, peach, and blue Carafe sour or whatever. I don't know how to say it. They also got Bob Marley, Mountain Dew, raspberry, peach, vanilla cream. You got Sun on Your Bums, 7 Up, coconut, peach, and mango puree. You got root beer, butter rum, vanilla cream. Like all these, and there's probably like, 3, 6, 9. There's 25 options on here. And I'm looking at this menu I have no idea what I'm looking at. No idea, like.
and that's a regular for us.
Well,
Marley, that's number one.
so we get through. He gets me these darn 32-ounce big gulp. Take my first sip, and I just like blew my socks off and like just sugar overload. I'm just like, oh my goodness. But then it kind of grows on you, and you get a sugar high, and you're just set for the rest of the afternoon.
Get off work, go grab you a drink.
So, no, I couldn't. I don't know. It's something to experience, I guess.
Yeah.
So, I'm all for like we were having when I was in UW Stout, and you'll probably listen to this in the podcast about having like hot Dr. Pepper or whatever, or Dr. Pepper with pickles in it, and like these different things. Like I'm all for it, but like this was a lot just to take in all at once. So I'd have to go back and try something else now. So with like the root beer, or they got energy drink concoctions too.
Yeah,
It's just all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, and it's just kind of funny because every little town has their own little concoction of a shack. So like in
really?
Ephraim, right across from your hotel, there's a Sip It, and then we have the Beach Inn, and then there's like Fizz, and there's all sorts of different
It's
dirty
big.
soda shacks.
Yeah.
Dirty sodas.
Your
That's-
Mormon coffee.
No, it's like how does where has that been around a long time? Like, is it just
I
like do you know the history of a dirty soda?
It's kind of a growing thing, honestly. Like it wasn't very big, and then it kind of started coming, and then it just now
Blew
it's
up.
I remember when we first got Sip It, and I was like, "What the crap is this
a
place?"
soda shack. What's that?
Yeah,
like?
and
But
like
now
I got
it's-
my first one, and then started to grow on me, and then we got Beachin, and I was like, "God, I don't have to go clear to Ephraim now. I'm 20-minute drive," and it got to be such a problem that I'd pull up to the window and they'd have my drink ready and hand it to me
Like,
because
oh, here
you just
you
got the same
Just
thing
know.
every day. But yeah, it's definitely a growing thing. It's kind of cool to watch though.
What time do they open? Do they?
8 a.m.
Oh, so you can't even get a dirty soda before you go to the duck blind.
Yeah.
What's your go-to drink then for the morning?
My go-to drink for the morning is chocolate milk.
Facts.
Ah.
Chocolate milk.
That's me before every day of work. But if I'm going from a drinks shack, a Stitch. It's got Powerade and cream in it, like a vanilla cream.
Okay.
It's can't beat it.
See, that's something like at Sonic that I would get. Like
Yeah,
they have the, I think you can do like Powerade cream and then that like a coconut syrup, and then I have them throw Nerds in it.
Yeah, see,
So make that a
I don't
slushie.
get crazy with it like some people do. That's for sure.
And like mine would be a Malibu, and it's a Dr. Pepper with like raspberry and cream and like coconut puree. It's just really weird, but
Super sweet stuff.
Oh yeah,
Like, it's-
yeah. Definitely give you a sweet tooth. That's for sure.
Yeah, I will say for the record, for the I guess for the campus waterfowl record through my travels, I have had some of the best biscuits and gravy I've had on all my trips. If not one of the best like breakfast dishes I've had out here at was it Charlie's?
Kitchen.
Yep.
Yeah, those were some good biscuits and gravy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the great it was like perfect crisp to fluff ratio on the biscuits, and the butteriness and the gravy was made right. So no, hats off to Charlie's. So,
Well, I've got another random question. So in Utah and a couple states out west, we have Mavic. You're from Tennessee. You don't have Mavic, right?
no, the gas station.
So
I gave him a Maverick experience.
Yeah,
this morning.
yeah, we went this
did you
morning.
go get a bonfire? Like a
What's a
burrito or something?
Oh,
a
you'll
breakfast
have to
burrito or
get
something?
They weren't ready when we got
Oh,
there.
my
We were there at
goodness.
like 3 a.m.
Oh,
They-
jeez.
Tomorrow on your way out, you got to go get a breakfast.
So they
burrito.
make breakfast burritos one day.
or like what else do they got?
They do a
breakfast
biscuits and
bowls.
gravy, or
Mm.
they have
Yeah.
like breakfast bowls. So
Pizza
So do you
and stuff
have
like
a
that.
gas station in Tennessee or wherever you go that's like that has that stuff? Because in Utah it's Maverick. Like you go on
Like-
a Maverick run before you
Yeah.
before you
I'll tell you.
Before work and
So,
stuff like that.
so like I haven't gone on like any like personal hunts since moving down to Tennessee, but I've gone hunting with like students from Ole Miss and Mississippi State, and I don't know if we went to any gas stations when I was at Mississippi State. We might have, and we just got like the general stuff. But when I was at Ole Miss, where we went hunting, there was a gas station. They were serving fried chicken at like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the
That sounds
morning
fire.
before we went to the blind. We were like, heck yeah, like fresh out of the fryer, fried chicken.
Yeah, that's
So-
pretty common here. Like you're going hunting, going to work, whatever it be. Like, oh, gotta make a Maverick run.
Up north, like everybody knows this. It's the Casey's Pizza, like breakfast pizzas, early in the mornings, and that's Casey's. And then you got Quick Trips are big. If you got a Buc-ee's near you, like they got some good breakfast items. What else you got? Quick Trips. I don't know. I think that's kind of the main ones.
there you go.
But Maverick, yeah, that's a new one for like I didn't know really what out west kind of offered for like your go-to gas station place.
That'd be Maverick.
Definitely
Maverick.
Yep.
Adventure's first stop.
Yep.
And then Charlie's. So what do you got?
I guess I kind of got one more random question. So I met you at the National FFA convention. Maybe give us a rundown on like your experience with the National FFA organization, or like your experience at the National FFA Expo and convention.
So kind of background to that. So for myself, when I was in high school, I was a part of FFA all throughout high school. I joined as soon as I could. Like, I just wanted to be a part of that. And there was also, a wildlife and fisheries contest that I was able to judge. And so I was able to judge that and then kind of learn more about FFA and what it represents. And so I ended up becoming the president at my high school and everything. But future FFA is something that I think kind of what like the duck hunting world, where it's in the hunting world, it's just that community of agriculture and everything. And going to the national convention for the second time, the first time I was an attendee, the second time I was a vendor as Ducks Unlimited. Seeing the size of that convention now is insane. I think, was it this year was there 72 or 73,000?
There were 72,000.
73,000 people in attendance, and seeing the involvement is just makes you feel very hopeful for the future of agriculture and what it has to what's going to be coming, I guess, next, and kind of the passion that all those students have for agriculture. And it's not like agriculture encompasses so many different things, and across the country, agriculture and just all that stuff. There's so many different things you can learn from one another. You can teach one another different things, and so it's just exciting to see that they're continuing on with the national convention and continue growing it, I guess. Especially when I feel like the agriculture and just hunting and just that type of stuff can sometimes, it's not always the main, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but you're always kind of on an uphill battle, I feel like, in these sectors.
Not everybody's focused on it.
Yeah. And so still growing, still going against facing the challenges that you have to face, but yet still succeeding and having success is it's good to see.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
What are your thoughts on that answer, I guess? I don't know.
So I'm actually a Utah FFA state officer on the State Sentinel. So I get to travel all over the state of Utah advocating for agriculture, and I've got to travel back to D.C., and I actually got to go back to Indianapolis, Indiana, to the convention where I met Derek, and I was there for the entire week that it went on, and I got to do some delegate work. So I got to see a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff, and it was an amazing, unique opportunity for me. But it does give you hope for the future generation, because we really are the next generation of agriculturists that are effectively going to feed, fuel, and clothe the economy. And just seeing the growth, we just hit a milestone this year of 1 million members nationally, which means we are the largest student-led organization in the world. And that just blows my mind, because there's no other organization that has lasted almost 100 years that is student-ran, and it really does give you hope for the next generation of our youth.
Were you guys? Is it just you that were involved in FFA? Or
I did FFA, but I didn't do necessarily your ag part of it. I was more into your mechanics, so welding,
you can do welding and there's trade stuff through FFA?
Yeah, there's an ag mechanics. We do an ag mechanics competition. So
that's a more growing side of FFA.
So they have to run a couple beads on a project, or they have to wire a 3-way switch, or they have to
identifying the tools throughout the trades, obviously pliers, your welpers, stuff like that.
There's even one where they give you a small engine and you have 5 minutes to figure out what is wrong with that engine and fix it and get it running.
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of...
It's crazy.
Yeah, I was more part of that side. I love wrenching. I mean, I don't like wrenching on other people's stuff, obviously, because that's more serious. But wrenching on your own stuff, I feel like it's important to learn, and that's why I did it. FFA is important for that, for sure. I feel like everybody should know how to plant a plant and how to keep it alive and how to keep an animal alive and how to fix your own stuff, in my opinion. But so it's important for me. And
I also don't think that FFA, like you mentioned, you weren't on the agriculture side of things, but it has to do with the entire FFA program has to do with agriculture. And a little backstory: in 1988, the Future Farmers of America changed their name to the National FFA Organization, because FFA truly is for anybody who wants to join.
I mean, heck, they've got floral stuff. I mean, that's another growing side of it. It's not just ag.
The forestry stuff.
Forestry, I mean, it's not just agriculture.
It doesn't matter where you are in the world. You are some way related to agriculture, whether that's growing the crops or feeding the cows or eating the food on your plate.
Or selling it. I mean,
or even putting your clothes on. You are some way in effect of agriculture every day. And I truly do believe in the next future of our generation through the FFA organization.
Yeah, no, it's exciting, especially seeing it firsthand at National Convention, the passion that all the students have being there. Even there's some long days there at National Convention. How long is it? How many days is it?
So National Convention runs for 4 days, I believe, 3 or 4 days. But then all the state officers and delegates, they have to be there 3 days before that. So that just makes it a little longer for us. But it's so cool because you come together and you meet these people in Washington, D.C., and then you come back together in the national convention. And it really is. It's like the shooting thing. It's a big family. I mean, I've got friends from, big shout out to my Iowa friends if they ever watch this. But they're going to come out to Utah here this next spring during our state convention and hang out with us for a little bit. Or my friends from Colorado. It's just such a cool community because you can meet anybody from anywhere in the blue jacket and shake hands and instantly be friends.
Yep. Yeah, and I feel like even when it comes to like something for you to put on your resume after the fact, like I think there's so many people that have been involved with FFA. Like I meet like when we're gonna be there as a vendor, like a lot of people at DU were in FFA, or people that have been in the outdoor industry that I know work in the outdoor industry have been in FFA. Like that blue wave has been going on for, well, how many years did you say?
I think this was the 97th national convention, so almost 100 years, which is mind-blowing.
Crazy. Yeah. So I'm sure the person the chances are like someone of someone you know someone that was in FFA. So, but yeah, no, it's a great organization. It's fun to be a part of, and being able to attend and be a vendor there and get to go there and see the the passion that all these students have for.
Well, not only that, it's a big duck hunting community too.
Oh yeah, they love their duck calls
because you buy these duck calls, and all of a sudden you'll hear a feeder call over here, you'll hear a mallard quack over here, and next thing you know, you're quacking yours too, and everybody's responding to each other. But
yeah, we had some advisors that weren't too big of fans of us selling calls. So no, they'd enjoy it. They always get some chuckles out of it, and that's something that DU does there is. As vendors, they get to sell duck calls, or they I think sold hats too. But this year, students can come up, buy an FFA duck call, and then they also get a youth membership to Ducks Unlimited. So they get to learn about Ducks Unlimited kind of throughout the year through the varsity magazine that they'll receive, and kind of get some learn some things about DU and what we do. So
it's cool.
Well, I think probably getting close to an hour. Is there anything else that you guys want to discuss, or did the people need to know about Utah?
Visit it. I mean, might as well. I mean, we have enough visitors. Just don't move here.
Just don't move here.
Yeah, for sure. Utah is pretty cool, where we have all these national parks, and we have a lot of state parks too. But you go from the red rocks of Moab to the pine trees and the Quakies up in Logan, and
then to flat to nothing.
Utah is just so diverse in our landscaping, and it's definitely somewhere that should be explored, and I would highly recommend coming out to Utah.
You got anything?
Yeah, same thing. Like Utah's diverse in landscaping, and diverse in wildlife. And people out here are super friendly. People are really friendly in Utah. So if you can, and you're out of state, definitely give a Utah a visit.
Yeah. Sweet. Heck, even if you just drive through, there's a lot of stuff to look through.
For sure.
And maybe even stop at a dirty soda shop.
Yeah.
You got stop at a dirty soda shop. Is there anything else in Utah like that where it's like a must, just a thing that you got to
Maverick. I mean, if you guys don't
just
have
a Maverick,
you've got
Maverick, dirty soda, and Charlie's.
You gotta get
the other thing I mentioned to you earlier, I don't know if a lot of people in the country are starting to experience this, but something that started in Utah is fry sauce. So fry sauce is like ketchup and mayonnaise mix, and it's like the greatest thing in the world.
Is ranch a big thing out here?
It's pretty big.
Okay, so the way you answered that, I already know it's not. So.
It is, but I feel like your go-to here is just
fry sauce.
Fry sauce, really?
Like you go to California, you got to make that stuff. They don't just have it. Like here, they got it in legit bottles.
Pre-made.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I thought Heinz or some company made that sauce in bottles where you can buy.
Yeah, they've started to make it, but you travel anywhere out of the state and you have to make it yourself.
Yeah. Good to know. There you go. The listeners have learned something.
Fry sauce.
Oh, another thing, the Hunt Expo.
Yeah,
that's a big thing in Utah.
You know what that is? The Western Hunt Expo.
I have heard of this. Yeah, is it hosted in Utah every year?
Okay. What's that building called? It's in Salt Lake City.
Yeah. It's some kind of conference center. It's a big downtown Salt Lake.
But it's like if you're a hunter, you hunt anything.
They've got not even just hunting, but if you camp, just camp.
Mm-hmm.
Just enjoy camping.
For sure.
And that was called the what?
The Western
Hunt Expo.
Western Hunt Expo.
If anybody ever seen the Instagram reel or the TikTok that the guy had the deer hanging on top of the McLaren and it was ratchet strapped down to the top of his McLaren. That came from the Hunt Expo in Utah.
Jeez.
I mean, yeah, just being somebody that was there when it was kind of like just kicking off and starting to where it is now, it's huge.
It's insane. But definitely worth a trip.
Yeah, for sure. There's another one somewhere else. I don't know where it is, but it's not just in Utah, but there is another expo, I guess.
There you go. Now the people know.
Yeah.
So
I know.
sweet. Well, want to thank you guys for letting me come out here, hanging out with you. Jackson, I'm glad we met at National Convention. I'm glad we had a good conversation and we were able to make this happen just a couple months later.
Yeah.
So it's been a lot of fun out here. Enjoyed my time and can't wait to get back out here again.
Yeah. Thank you, Derek. Thank you for bringing the DNA test. I'm really, really kind of excited to figure out what the results of that are. And like even looking at the two Susies we had tonight, they had completely different colored feathers. And I was like, oh, I'm kind of curious to see how their DNA is going to come out different from each other. But it's going to be interesting to see. But thank you for coming out and thank you for taking the time to talk to me at National Convention and let me know what you did so we could experience something like this. I think all of us
It was a lot of
never...
fun.
Yeah, you think you learned something, or what do you guys think of the weekend?
Yeah, I definitely did. I didn't even know that there was like that testing. I didn't
The
know
duck
anything
DNA
about
stuff?
it. Yeah, I didn't know anything about it, and now, I mean,
What are your thoughts on that? Would you rather do like a duck DNA or like get a duck band, like shoot a duck band?
I like jewelry. Like
You'd rather have a duck band?
banded duck
And-
is cool.
But for me personally, this is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. There's always going to be another banded duck out there.
Yeah, that is true.
We're probably never going to have the opportunity in our lives again to cut the tongues off a duck and send them in
Put
to...
it in a little tube and send it to Texas.
Yeah.
That's
So-
pretty cool.
No, I'm excited to see. Last year we did this, and unfortunately we didn't get any mallards, so we had to. So they're trying to compile like even just a full data set of ducks. So we were able to kind of contribute to. We had ringnecks, so we sent in ringnecks DNA, and they were able to get those samples and add that to their samples. So now this time having mallards, which is the kind of the main focus of this research that they're doing. Really excited to see what they come back as. So once we get those. We'll have to share those. Hopefully, share those with everybody, and then I'll make sure that you guys get. I'll have to, because I think they might come back in my name since it's kind of the samples were in my name, so I'll have to like Photoshop your guys' name on them.
That's fine.
I could change the font, like take that out, throw it on, so you guys can print those out. So remember that.
Okay.
But cool. Well, that's gonna do it here at Snow College. Is there snow in Snow College?
Not right now.
Not right now. Okay.
Yeah,
I had to ask. But that's going to do it here at Snow College here in Central Utah. Thank you again to Jackson, Mac, and Kyan for letting me come out this weekend. And we're winding down on the Collegiate Waterfowl Tour. I think we have 3 trips left. So stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next one. I have no idea where we're going to be at.